Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. We're just going to give it a few minutes for the other attendees to join, and then we'll get started. Okay, I think we can start. And if you miss anything, you can always watch the recording later. So welcome everyone to our first International Moon Day celebration event. My name is Sahba. I'm the founder of JISRI, the Jordan Space Research Initiative. And today I'll be telling you about our goals. I'm talking about sustainable development and the Moon Village, and how the Moon Village Association plays a role in our work as well. After my presentation, we'll have 10 minutes for Q&A, and then you'll hear from our JISRI ambassadors and the winners of our last year competitions. So stay tuned for that. If you have any questions throughout this presentation, you can put them in the chat or the Q&A. So with that, we can get started. So our goal at JISRI is to be able to foster space R&D in Jordan, while also contributing to lunar exploration and working towards sustainable development. We want to be able to work on Jordan's priorities when it comes to the SDGs, or the Sustainable Development Goals, because for countries like Jordan, that don't have a space program, we have limited natural and financial resources. It's important to work on the benefits for life on Earth as well. So our secondary goal is also to educate and to engage the general public and to show that it is viable to get into space research and technology, and to better share the benefits that can bring to Jordan. So Jordan is a country with a very high youth population, and we have growing interest in space. However, we're still lacking in opportunities, and as I mentioned, our resources are limited. We created a roadmap for Jordan's participation in lunar exploration through the Moon Village Association's participation of Emerging Space Countries Program, or PESC. So our team worked on developing a roadmap for the next 20 years of how Jordan can get involved in lunar explorations and which building blocks we want to focus on. The building blocks that we selected for this roadmap were chosen based on the priorities identified in a preliminary roadmap related to Jordan's implementation of the United Nations Space 2030 Agenda and the SDGs. This is a roadmap that I worked on during my master's at the International Space University, and it was the first step towards identifying the synergies between space exploration and sustainable development as it relates to Jordan's priorities. So what are the things that we need to work on in our country? And then also, what are the things that could be considered strengths? So industries that we have a lot of investment in, a lot of resources, that we can build on and get more involved in space exploration. So we have two main goals at JISRI. The first is establishing an analog research facility in the Jordanian desert to carry out technological research. And the second is the community and stakeholder engagement. So both of these things are very important for a country like Jordan that's just getting started in space, not only working on the technical side, but also the outreach and education portion. And our goals are driven by the UN Space 2030 agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals, and specifically looking at these goals listed here. Although it's important to note that with the Sustainable Development Goals, they are all interconnected. So when you work on climate action, for example, you're also reducing the problem of water scarcity. You're also making your cities more sustainable. But when it comes to our research areas that we've selected, they specifically complement these SDGs. And so these research areas are water resource management, renewable energy, ISRU, or in situ resource utilization and robotics, dust mitigation, agriculture, smart city infrastructure, and women's health. And I will be going more into detail for each of these areas. So when it comes to water resource management, this is, of course, something that we need to build on for establishing a moon village, for establishing bases on the moon where people can live and work. But it is also a priority here on Earth because we have very limited precious resources. And Jordan specifically has a huge problem with water scarcity. We have a very high demand and not enough supply. And so we want to focus on how we can incorporate space technology and research into existing initiatives in water resource management, while also looking at how these improvements can be repurposed as well for lunar exploration and for our analog research. The second is renewable energy. Similar to the strain on the water resources, and due to a huge population growth and the refugee crisis, since Jordan hosts a lot of refugees and people living in remote and isolated areas, the natural resources are strained. So this is the water, the energy, the food. And so one of the main priorities in Jordan and at the heart of its national strategies in a lot of ways is focusing on renewable energies. So we see a lot of investment in this area from Jordan with many ongoing initiatives. And then this is, of course, also important in developing a more efficient and sustainable way to not only produce energy, but also to store it and manage it for lunar exploration and in the moon village. The third area is ISRU and robotics. So as I mentioned, ISRU is in situ resource utilization. What this means essentially is using the resources that are available to you naturally. So if you think of going to the moon, you would consider, for example, using the water from the South Pole, using the regolith or the dust that's available there as a building material. So all of these things would allow you to have a more sustainable long-term presence there. And in terms of Jordan, of course, the Jordanian desert and specifically Wadi Rum is often compared to Mars because of how it looks, because of the topography and its terrain. But other than the aesthetics where, they film movies and they use it as kind of a promotional element, which is great, but it also does give us a unique testing platform. So when you have analog missions, when you have analog facilities, you want to be able to test your technologies and your mission design in environments that are as similar to the moon or Mars as possible. And of course, you can't get 100% the same kind of environmental factors, but the similarity with the environment is what determines how well you can actually test your technologies to prepare for actual space missions. And so we're planning to implement these space analog missions related to ISRU and robotics in order to test future lunar technologies, given the nature of the environment and how it relates. This is especially important for when you think about long-term human habitation in space on the moon, on Mars, because before humans even get there or are able to stay there long-term, we need robotic technologies. We need ISRU to be able to establish enough infrastructure that humans can actually live there. Similarly, with dust mitigation, this is one of the biggest issues that need to be tackled in lunar exploration. As I mentioned, the regolith on the moon, it can be a valuable resource, but it also can be very dangerous to human health. It can irritate astronauts, as seen in the Apollo missions. It can also interfere with electronics because regolith does have a charge that it carries, and that charge is not constant. So it's a very particular challenge to deal with. But also, given that we would be testing in the Jordanian desert, we can look into a lot of the dust mitigation strategies and technologies and learn from how people who are indigenous to these environments actually survive in similar conditions. Again, it's not 100%. Like, for example, we can't simulate the charge aspect maybe, but look, depending on the solution that you're trying to test, if it's cleaning your spacesuits, if it's specific airlocks, these things being tested in that kind of environment gives you a more accurate representation of what it could be like on the moon as well. That brings me to smart city infrastructure. So this is actually one of Jordan's strengths that we want to build on to complement lunar exploration efforts, because Jordan has been increasingly introducing smart solution systems to its municipalities in order to enhance and sustain services. There are a lot of initiatives ongoing in communication, in IoT or Internet of Things. So having this kind of digital connection platform for how you monitor your systems, how you communicate. This is also very important for establishing the Moon Village, because when you have different, for example, different modules where people are living and working, there's a lot of electronics that you need to monitor. Some of them are extremely important for human health. So the life support systems, all of these things need smart solutions, and we need to be able to develop a lunar smart base, essentially. So the same way that we're working towards having smart cities on Earth, we need to think about how we're going to set up the connectivity and standardization of our communication on the moon as well. And then we have agriculture. Of course, food and agriculture is important to any community, and especially if you want it to be a sustainable community where there are limited resources, you need to come up with creative and innovative ways to grow the food, to maintain the ability to grow the food in harsh environment. And so Jordan does actually have an ongoing partnership with Norway, where they're working on how they can grow food in the desert, for example. And similar technologies to this may be developed and tested for future lunar bases. And again, when you think about growing plants on the moon, of course, that is a very particular environment. There are things that we can't simulate, but there are a lot of things that we can simulate. If you're thinking about the kind of light that's needed, the type of the atmospheric environment that you need to maintain within a greenhouse, for example. So these are all things that can complement each other in our research. And then finally, that brings me to women's health. This is an area that we selected because, especially in space research, there is not enough data about women's health in space. Of the 500 plus astronauts that have been to space, only 12% have been women. And then women on Earth as well obviously have a very disadvantaged role, although extremely important. And we need to be able to support these women, especially when you think about, again, women living in refugee camps in isolated areas. These are things that we need to work on Earth and in space. We need to improve access to healthcare. We need to improve the type of medical and pharmaceutical research that can support these women in remote areas and harsh environments. And of course, this some of this research will apply to people of all genders, but given the disadvantaged role that women have in this particular industry and in our society as well, this is a very important goal for us. So how are we going to work on the analog facility? Our goal right now is looking at Wadi Rum, although we are currently working on a site selection analysis, which we will be presenting at the International Astronautical Congress in Paris in September, looking at other areas as well that we could potentially choose in Jordan. The reason that we're looking at Wadi Rum is, of course, other than its similarities, it would also have a huge potential boost to the tourism in the area, and there is existing infrastructure that we could potentially build on. And also, fun fact, Wadi Rum is known locally as the Valley of the Moon. And if you go to any of the tourist attraction sites, you will often see references to Mars or the movies that were filmed there. And so in this analog facility, of course, we want to incorporate all of the building blocks, the research areas that I just mentioned, working together to have one complete integrated system. And in terms of how we're going to implement it, so the Moon Village has three specific scenarios. The Moon Village Association has these three scenarios where they foresee the Moon Village coming into or being implemented through one of these three ways. But we're actually pursuing all three scenarios. So the first one is scenario alpha, which is government or human spaceflight driven. This is, of course, important to us in terms of establishing the plan for the analog facility. This will likely be a government-driven development due to restrictions related to the land. But at the same time, if you want to work on testing technology developments, both national and international, it does help to have a governmental agency that can foster these partnerships. Right now, we are operating independently because we don't have a Jordanian space agency yet. But once that happens, it will be a lot easier to form international partnerships within the space industry and highlight the role of Jordan and specifically this facility as an integrated platform where we can test human spaceflight mission concepts, regardless of who is designing the mission. So not all missions that we test here will be Jordanian missions. We want to actually work with international partners, and we want to work with national stakeholders who are also outside of the space industry. So I'll get to that in a little bit. The second is scenario beta, which is government or science driven. So again, working with government organizations, but also technical and public universities in order to identify these specific scientific research goals related to each of these areas, as well as establishing the research programs that would relate to the development and the construction of the facility, taking into account our building blocks. And then finally, developing the technologies based on existing initiatives with partners such as the Sahara Forest Project, which is the one I mentioned earlier, in partnership with Norway. So the government already has these science and sustainability driven initiatives, and we want to work together on implementing these in a way that complements our research areas and our potential contribution to the Moon Village. The third is scenario gamma, which is private venture driven. So as I mentioned, we want to work with companies in Jordan that are already working on these research areas. So when you have a company that's working on renewable energy or robotics, even if it doesn't currently focus on space, we want to help foster, open up these new opportunities for them in the space industry. And that way we can also identify goals with them that complement both of our initiatives. Additionally, with regards to the funding for actually building the analog facility, this is something that will likely come from commercial partners and investors. When you want to build something on a large scale, it can be quite expensive. And as I mentioned, in terms of financial resources in Jordan, that is quite strained. So we don't expect that the government would fully fund this, but that they would be involved, and we would also be receiving funding from commercial partners. And then finally, also, in addition to working with the existing companies, we want to be able to foster new space ventures in Jordan. So helping people develop technologies, either based on the existing capabilities or working on new mission ideas on payloads related to space directly. So we have the expertise, we have the desire to support and foster this space ecosystem in Jordan. And we can see that happening through the private venture or business side of things as well. So that finally brings me to the community and stakeholder engagement portion of our roadmap and our goals. Of course, we want to engage Jordanian citizens. We want to engage the government throughout this process, throughout the implementation of the roadmap, to actually ensure its success and close the communication gap. There are a lot of target stakeholders, in addition to government institutions, also working with urban and traditional communities. Specifically, if we're thinking of building something in Wadi Rum or in the desert, there are, of course, people who live there, and we want them to be part of this process as opposed to imposing our facility on their lands or not taking their expertise into account. And then, of course, working with students and universities, giving them new opportunities, either through graduation projects, through developing new programs more focused on space. And by working with all of these stakeholders, then we can ensure that our initiative in trying to bring space to Jordan would actually be successful. One thing that we've already started with on the outreach side is our space design competitions. So last year we had the first ever space design competitions in Jordan, which were the spacesuit and rover design competitions. We partnered with both local and international partners in order to provide this opportunity to Jordanians. The rover competition focused on designing a rover with an ISRU payload for the moon or Mars. And then the spacesuit competition focused on designing an analog spacesuit, which addressed specific challenges based on the feedback that we had received from analog astronauts and the spacesuits that they typically use. These are some pictures from our competitions last year. So this was the finals that we held in Wadi Rum. We had 2 rover teams and 2 spacesuit teams competing. All of them did an amazing job, and they really made us and Jordan proud. And you will be hearing from the winners of our rover and spacesuit competition right after my presentation. So stay tuned for that. And then finally, this year, we're doing another space competition, this time focusing on space architecture. So our goal is to also involve people in the design of this facility to foster creativity and also the educational aspect, because space architecture is a very important emerging field, not only applying to analog facilities, but also for actual space habitats and facilities on the moon, on Mars, beyond, or even in orbit. And so ours focuses on the design of the analog facility, and the timeline for this competition that you can see on the right, similar to last year, will take place in 2 stages. Right now, we're in stage 1, so we've already kicked off the competition. We have 40 people participating, some individually and some in teams. In September, they will submit their design proposals, and we will select the finalists along with our partners. And then over the month of October, they have their architectural modeling period. So in November, we will actually be going to the finals, where the winners will present their designs to our judges and our partners, and hopefully contribute to the design of our analog space facility. So in conclusion, countries with limited resources can, of course, play a role in lunar exploration while still putting our national priorities and sustainable development at the forefront of our efforts. And for JISTI, this this happens through two main goals, which is the establishment of the analog R&D facility, fostering technological innovation, but also through our community and stakeholder engagement. And through our focus on outreach, we've shown already that the Jordanian youth has a deep interest in space exploration. They just need more opportunities. And as always, we welcome collaborations with local and international stakeholders. I encourage you to check out our website and to reach out to us. But also, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. In the meantime, I will stop sharing my screen, and Zaina is going to play a quick promotional video for JISRI. Thank you, Zaina. And with that, I will hand it off to Saif Al-Shalabi, who was the winner or a member of the winning team for our rover competition. So Saif is going to tell us a little bit more about his experience in the competition and what he's up to now.
Thank you, Sahaba. First of all, I would like to thank you, JISRI team, for this opportunity. Not only for the competition, and also for the support and guidance after that. I think this competition really changed my life. Okay, what did we gain? Now I design and manufacture autonomous systems in the fields of smart agriculture systems. As you see, we designed and fabricated and manufactured a UAV that transports blood bags from and into hospitals. And we also designed camera equipment for cinematography. All those achievements were gained by the opportunity given from the JISRI team. Okay. How it all started. In college, I participated in many competitions: Minesweeper, World Free of Mines, Formula 1 student, Minister of Higher Education, hackathon, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months of working and studying. None of those competitions gave me what I need. I needed the skills. I needed the opportunity to make my life, to make my dream come true. Okay, in college, we studied many resources, books, references that led us to learn how design is done. All those competitions, none of them we have the opportunity to go in a professional procedures, but JISRI provided that. Requirement, conceptual design, preliminary design, detailed design, fabrication, all was done professionally. In the requirement, they provided us with resources, all the resources that we need, or research papers. So we built and we gained a solid and hard platform that led us to be creative. Okay. The conceptual design and preliminary design normally in small project, they are combined. So yeah, so to be classified for the next stage, you need to pass this stage. It was a report, and thankfully we passed. Also, the detailed design, they provide us with professionals, professional people that guided us, provided us with advices that make things easier. And it was a real example of combining the best of two worlds, the theoretical part and the real life situation. As we know, we can design in theory, but we all know that the theoretical design, it's just for making us near to the real life situation. You can't see the result until you see what you designed and you manufactured in real life. Okay, we took a path. We maybe thought that it was a lot of more that we can handle. We decided to manufacture and fabricate all the parts, gears, chains, chases, and I think it was real hard for us, though this type of knowledge is something that you don't learn in college, but through this opportunity, we learned. So we can now design and we can fabricate. Through this, I have my own workshop in my house. So I design in my house and I fabricate in my house. So it made things easier for me. As we know, when I look at my first design, I really feel silly. But those choices that we made, we thought that we did something great, and we did. Those stages of being not ready, of trying first time, second time, third time, and it was frustrating. Really, it didn't work from the first time. This was our first trial, and it didn't work for us. We tried chains, we tried belts, all of that didn't work until we get to our last model. The joy of seeing it walking in the soil of Wadi Rum was something different. And what I really felt happy. I really felt happy at this moment. And the design didn't go as I planned. A lot of problems, even at my last model, and it didn't go as we will. But the reaction that we gave that was given from the team, and let us continue. I remember saying to Sahba, I'm really sorry. This design is a mess. But the reaction of Sahba really gave us hope. We continue. And we did one project, two projects, third project, and they all was a success from that opportunity. I think all youth in the Middle East, in Jordan, just need the choice, the opportunity to do something. We have the knowledge, but we need the opportunity. And that opportunity is given from those initiatives. Those initiatives is really what makes the difference. You can't achieve anything in life without a small amount of sacrifices. The sacrifice is not a thing that we did. Yesterday made the sacrifice. They sacrificed their time, they sacrificed their energy to make things work. and all those deeds of those people that help us to reach this point will be always sculptured in our minds, in our memories. And I would thank you again for this opportunity. And I hope you continue doing what you do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saif. We're really very proud of you and your dedication. And of course, any project is not going to be 100% perfect from the beginning, but it takes perseverance and hard work, and that's what you all showed. So thank you. And next, we're going to have Salam present. And once we're all done, we'll have the Q&A at the end. So Salam Abulheja is part of the winning team of our spacesuit design competition last year. So similar to Saif, she's going to present a bit about her experience, and then we'll wrap up our session for today. So Salam, over to you.
Hey Sahba, how are you? And hey everyone, I'm more than proud to just be here in this session because it's a great opportunity. Like as I've said, it's something that opens a lot of doors for us, and it was a great opportunity and the first step in space passion that we had since we were like kids. And I'm sure all the participants were just like me and super passionate about space, and they want to be there and they want to experience exactly how it feels actually to be involved in space industry itself. So let me start from the beginning, like how did I just reach here and how did I know about Sahba team and the Justries girls and all these achievements they've done and the initiative of their space thing, I can say. So actually it was like on Facebook, my friend just told me, Salam, they're offering us to do a spacesuit. And I was like, really, this is amazing. I am super proud because I am super excited, not only proud, like excited to be in a competition that it's in Jordan and to design a spacesuit. Actually, it never happens here. And it was the first time. So yeah, we participated together and we were a good team. And then, we did like our presentation in 5 days. We worked really hard in a row, and we did our presentation and we did the research, and yes, then we participated. And when we got the results of being a winner, it was really an amazing news for me. Like I was really shocked. Am I really accepted or a winner in this phase? So yeah, we really actually had this push to be involved in space. And then after their support and their sponsoring of making a prototype, that put me in a special, in a special case, put me in a place where I am applying my whole journey in university. I'm a mechanical engineer. I just graduated. So I felt like I am applying all the courses I've taken, from static to material science to composite materials, and all these engineering stuff. So I felt deeply that this can't be but a graduation project. So I later on made it as my graduation project, and I really wanted to share slides so you can just see the design I am talking about, because but actually I don't know how to. Yes, okay. Just a second. But I don't know actually if I can share my screen directly. Can I? Or I have to be
No, I think you should be able to share your screen. Yeah, because I think you're added as a panelist, so.
So I can't, right?
You can, yes.
I can. Okay, let's do it. Now, can you see
Yep.
my screen, right? Yes.
Yes, now we can see it.
Yes. So
Maybe you can put it horizontally though, so we can see the slides better. Like rotate.
yes. So I'm just you're seeing like it's loading, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So just okay, let me do it that way. Can you see it like this? Is it clear a bit?
Yes, we can see it now.
Okay. So actually, I wanted to show you the picture of the spacesuit. So this is me wearing the spacesuit. I know it's a little bit tight, but actually inside layers, communication system, AC system, and there's a miler inside, the waterproof layer, and there's the outer fabric that it's talking about, being flame resistant and keep you in a good conditions, and it's a bulletproof. So actually, let me just tell you exactly what does the spacesuit were about. It has like a communication system where you can connect with the with the other astronauts in the mission you are in. And actually, it's like a walkie-talkie devices. We had like problem solving, the problems that were, actually the competition had a list of problems that we need to solve. So the three or two problems, probably, I think, they were like the dust mitigation, to find a good cooling system, which is not, it doesn't need any electricity or anything to work. It has to work from itself or from the environment it is in. And the third one is the fogging. So we solved the three problems. Actually, by the anti-fogging, we use the fans. It's the mechanical principle that says when you blow air to the glass, it will remove the fogs. And also we use some chemicals from the inner glass. So that's the way we solve the fogging problem. And for the dust mitigation, we suggested some solution for the problem, but actually we couldn't be able to add it all. So we used like a disposable garments that the astronaut can wear it above the outer layer that you're seeing here. It's white. I'm not wearing it in the photo, but actually it doesn't let the dust just to stay in the garment, and it's like a disposable. You can just take it off once before you came into the colony you're living in on Mars. So that one solution, and the other one we did, it was like microwaves. That it's like a microwave gate that you enter before you go to the colony. So once you are, or to your vehicle or wherever you want to go in. So once you pass it through that gate, these microwaves just shake and make vibration for the dust, and it removes. So that's the way we talked about. And the third one, which was the idea of the spacesuit, was the cooling system. We actually designed a thermoelectric generator cooling system, which can be worked with no water, with no electricity. It just need you to be on Mars. So it works on the environment of Mars, which is the temperature. So we're talking about the difference in temperature. And the temperature, sorry, just a second. Yes, so you only need the difference in the temperature in order to get this suit to be cooled down. So we have like a garment, which is it's like that connect the heat. So it's like a heat collector, and then we sink. We have a sink. That sink we can exchange that heat. So this layer I supposed to be like a silver layer. This layer will take all the heat from your body and move it to the sink, and then the sink we have like a thermoelectric generator, which works on the filter effect, that it takes from one side hot, from the other side cool temperature, and then you generate electricity and also you take the heat from the body. So that's the way we used it to make an AC system. So I just want to make it like short, and I want to make you see the this slides just talk mainly about the designs I've been talking about. So here we're talking about the anti-fogging, dust mitigation, and the thermoregulation system. I just wanna say something about the sustainability we've been talking about. This is about the layers. I already talked about the thermoelectric generators, which were the best part of this, and these equations and the engineering parts. And actually, here we're talking about all the layers. The mylar, which it works as a thermos, like it keeps you in a good temperature and doesn't allow the outer temperature to sink in and kill you, because the average temperature of Mars is minus 60 degrees C. So it's very cold for the human to handle it. So let's talk about sustainability, which is really a great thing for me, because the TIG system can generate electricity. Because once the TIG from one side hot, which is your body, and from the other side cold, which is the environment of Mars, it will generate electricity. It is in millivolts, but what I'm talking about here, we can use this electricity. Actually, if we talk about 100 astronauts, maybe we can generate a lot of electricity. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And actually, it depends on the number of TIG modules we're adding on this suit. So that's the idea maybe that catched Sahba and the judges to just make us a winners. And I'm super proud that you considered that idea to be an innovative idea, and maybe we can like make a scientific paper about it, and later on we can apply it in real world. The second thing that I really wanted to talk about, which is the final, I know I'm being too long, but actually Sahba introduced me to Asclepius team. And I am really proud of this opportunity, Sahba. Maybe I didn't get the chance to say thank you enough, because you were the one who just, called me and said, Salam, these people looking for spacesuit specialists, someone can help them designing a new spacesuit for their mission, which is the Analog Space Mission 2 for Asclepius in Switzerland. And they accepted me and wanted me to be their spacesuit specialist. And that was a great journey for me, because the past 3 months, and maybe I can say the past 4 months, I've been designing and making a list of materials and trying to find all the materials in Jordan, which is really hard, but I did it anyway. So it was a challenging experience as well as a great experience, that I'm designing 2 spacesuits with different layers and different sizes and a new design and alone. So I was the only one who designed these 2, and I was really proud when I just saw these pictures for these astronauts wearing the male version and the female version of my suit. And I chose orange because it's my favorite color, and it's very proud for space suits. Astronauts usually use this color. So yeah, these space suits you're looking at are more than 1 layer. So inside there's 4 layers. This is the outer garment, is a flame resistant, and it's very good fabric. It won't hurt you. Like, it's like an anti-cut. There's like a percentage of Kevlar, and inside there's mylar, there's cooling system, but the cooling system this time, it's an iced water circulating. So yeah, we're talking about 4 layers inside, and also waterproof layer, and a helmet that contains a communication system, a cooling system, fans for the fogging, and gloves that are heated electrically. Like you just need to push, just press a button and your gloves will give you heat. And it's very portable, like very flexible. You can just walk in it. So I think the photos are just telling you, and these are the astronauts that are wearing. They're from different nationalities. They are based now in the camp. Actually, they are currently in the camp, which is 14 days. I think today is the day 7, I believe. So they are wearing the spacesuits and currently, making the mission. And here they are not wearing the fans. That's actually the problem that I've solved. Once you wear the fan, you won't have this fogging on your visor. So this is the final slide. And let me just stop sharing.
Amazing. Thank you,
Now you can
Salam.
see me. Thank you, Sahaba, and thank you everyone for listening. I know I've been talking too much and too fast, but really, the experience we had with you was amazing. And I'm encouraging all my colleagues and my friends who are passionate about space to just join you in your next missions and your next competitions. And we're more than supporters for you. Like anything in the future, we are the first people to support you. And thank you for this session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone, all of our people who participated in our competition. Salam, Saif, everyone really making us proud, making Jordan proud, and showing that our youth is innovative and creative and smart and passionate, and they just need more opportunities. So we're very, very happy that we were able to provide this first opportunity and the first of many. And of course, through even after the competition, having Salam work with Asclepios, they're based in Switzerland. So it was a really great opportunity for her, but also for us to start these international partnerships. And same with Saif, who's working on the European Space Agency to hopefully support him in his projects. So we're very happy to facilitate these kinds of partnerships and to see what our people can achieve in space. And so with that, I think we have a bit under 10 minutes for Q&A. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat or the Q&A box. I will look through now. So we have a question from Aya. How did they get this chance? So if you mean participating in the competition, it was open to everyone. So both competitions were advertised early last year. We mainly use social media and paid advertisements to target people who are interested in space, who are working in engineering projects, or people within a certain age range. We wanted it to be open to everyone. So we had our youngest participant, Salam's teammate, Iman, was still in high school. We had people who had just graduated from university. So it was really open to everyone. And it was just basically the people who were able to get through the whole process. Of course, it's a very big challenge when you don't have this kind of experience, but we tried to support them as much as possible. And so we provided the opportunity, but they really made the most of it. And then there's another question from Aya for Saif and Salam. How did this experience change your life? It's a big question, but if you'd like to, if either of you wants to tackle that one.
Yes, actually, this is the first step that I was looking for my entire life. So I am, a student who's passionate about space since I was, 6 years old when I was in second grade, and I started telling people I want to be an astronaut, and they started to laugh. So how did this actually change my life? The first thing I've ever done for space or in a space industry was this suit, and now the second two suits that for Asclepios they were through G-Stream, and now I am contacting and connecting with people from NASA and ESA through also the sponsors that Sahba actually introduced us to. And for the past 8 weeks I just joined a camp which was a Space Kind 7, and I really get to know people I've never thought I'd be in touch with, and people that are so deeply engaged in the space industry. And now I feel like I am on the road. Maybe it's 1 step, 2 steps, I don't know how much steps I am in, but the first one was with G-Stream.
Thank you, Salam. It's great to hear that you're continuing with your journey to space. I don't know, Saif, if you have anything to add, or otherwise we can move on to our last question.
I think the thing that changed my life is converting my theoretical knowledge into a real design. That's all what I gained. And it's large صراحة. It's very large. To see it come true and be capable of not designing a rover, any system. If you designed the first system, you have the capability to continue. So not the rover competition, the design of rover was the first step. Many projects I have done later depends on the knowledge I gained through this competition. Yeah.
Thank you, Saif. And then we have two more questions. So a question from Ahmed: has the suit been tested in simulated Martian conditions in a chamber? No. So these suits were tested in an analog condition. So basically in the desert in Wadi Rum. And performing specific tasks, at least the ones for the GISTI competition and the Asclepios ones that Salam mentioned are being tested in a different kind of environment in Switzerland. They're simulating not Martian dust and so on, but exploring lava tubes or caves. So it's a different way to kind of explore or test these suits under different conditions. And then we have another anonymous question. The registration of the competition has already started, and 1 month for submitting the designs. Do we still have a chance to participate if we start now? So no, unfortunately, the registration process has already closed. We've already gone through the initial registration period, the confirmation. We've already formed the teams. So if you missed this competition this year, I still encourage you to follow us on social media to keep up with our news, because we do plan on doing a space design competition every year. So if not the similar topics, it would still be a chance to get involved in space. And then the last question, how can we get support and help from the Institute? So you can reach out to us. I'll share again in the chat the link for our website. You can also email us, depending on the kind of support that you need. Of course, we're happy to help. And yeah, we're very open to collaborating and working with people in Jordan or outside of Jordan. So just send us an email or check out our website, see our research areas. If you feel that you can contribute in some way, let us know. And then the last question, I keep saying last question, but actually the last question, because we have to wrap up in 2 minutes. Will the architecture competition participants get support in the cost and time estimates? Depending on the type of support that you need. Of course, if you have any questions, you can email us. We have a lot of information that's outlined in the competition packages. So make sure that you actually read through all of that. It does talk about the type of cost estimates and schedule estimates that you need to make. And then, of course, if you have any questions, let us know. I will say that over the month of August, we will be hosting expert presentations from people with experience in space architecture. These will be targeted towards our architecture competition participants, giving them a chance to ask their questions, but at the same time, they will be open for anyone to join. So if anyone on this call also is interested in learning more about space architecture, stay tuned for that. During the events, you will be able to watch the presentation, but we will reserve the Q&A portion for the competition participants so they can get more support and guidance on their designs. And I think that's everything, unless we have any questions in the chat that I've missed. Hopefully not. I did send the the link to our website and our email in the chat. So if there's anything that we didn't get a chance to cover today, if you still have any questions, if you want to propose something, project or collaboration, please feel free to reach out to us. We're always happy to work with more people. And with that, I think we can wrap up the event. So exactly on time, which is kind of rare for anything space related, by the way. So yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Salam and Saif, for presenting, to Zaina and Glafki for helping organize this, and to the Moon Village Association, of course, and our JISFI team and our partners. So thank you all, and we'll hopefully see you again soon. Bye.